Good afternoon. My name is Irene Parker with Timeshare and Resort Developer Accountability. We are at episode 83 on September 29th, 2025 of Timeshare Solution or Surrender. And we like to save the last Monday of the month, if we possibly can, to talk about more of the positive side of timeshare, which we hear endless stories of people that have been harmed, but we know that when sold honestly, timeshare can be a great product for the right family. So to help us determine, we have Jeremy, who is with Destination Timeshare. He owns a significant amount of Marriott timeshares, and he has been joined on our show before. We have kind of his partner in honesty, Jonathan Stoker from Vacation Ownership Advisor, who is my personal advisor for the 3-year program I signed up with my resort co-op. I'll be talking about in a little bit. And we have our board member, Sherida, who apparently we don't have a picture on her. Sherida, can you hear us? No. Okay, so we lost Sherida, and we do have Andre. So, okay, here's Sherida. Sherida, we lost you. You came up on our screen black, so good to have you with us. Sherida serves on our TARDA board, and she works in Marriott resales and rentals. And so we're going to start today, and then we have Andre, who is the IT arm behind the show, the program that I will be talking about today, My Resort Co-op. One of the complaints we hear over and over again is the perpetual contract. And as an attorney explained to me, there's nothing wrong with perpetual contracts. The house you live in and the car you drive is a perpetual contract. But the difference is you can sell your house and you can sell your car, and deliberately suppressing a secondary market just doesn't seem healthy for the consumer or the industry. So Jeremy, you are an expert at this, and Sherida is working in timeshare resales and rentals. So Jeremy, if you could start by telling us, and we have Jonathan Stoker is the former director of sales for Hilton Grand Vacations. So he was on the front line of these sales, buying directly from Marriott or Hilton or Wyndham, compared to Sherida that's working on the secondary market. So Jeremy and then Sherida, could you tell us the difference between buying directly? You both know, our experts at Marriott. Sherida doesn't like me to call her an expert, but she's certainly more of an expert than I am. What is the difference between buying directly from Marriott and buying on the secondary market?
So for Marriott, you kind of have two different standpoints here. And thanks for having me on the show today as well. But two different standpoints. You have resale weeks, and then you also have resale points, right? Marriott, they kind of launched their points program back in 2010, and there's now resale points on the resale market. And for all intents and purposes, if you go out and buy resale points, those work exactly the same as if you had purchased points directly from Marriott Vacation Club. You had to pay a fee when you purchase those points, $3 per point, kind of as like an initiation fee to Marriott for whatever, for them to make those points available for you to use. But other than that, they work exactly the same as if you walk in and purchase points directly from Marriott. Now, if you buy resale weeks, that's where there's a big difference. For the most part, Marriott doesn't really sell weeks direct, except for outside of the United States. So if you go to the Caribbean, you go to Europe, they sell weeks there. And if you purchase the weeks there, they are enrolled in Marriott's points program, which they call Abound. But if you purchase weeks on the resale market not from Marriott, those weeks aren't enrolled in Abound. They don't come with club points. You can't convert them or elect club points for those resale weeks. So you have to use the week either at your home resort, within the season you own and the unit size you own, or you exchange it through Interval International. So resale weeks have a pretty heavy restriction in that you can't convert them or elect club points. So if your week converts to, say, 2,500 club points, it doesn't matter. You purchased at resale. You can't convert that to club points unless you make a deal with Marriott to purchase points from them, and then they may allow you or could allow you to enroll your resale week that's ineligible in the Abound program. So that's kind of the main difference from a Marriott standpoint, between resale weeks and direct weeks, and resale points and direct points, and resale weeks and direct weeks, even though they really don't sell weeks anymore. Marriott doesn't, unless you're buying outside the United States.
And Sheridan, not all Marriott properties have resale value. I know there's Harborside, I think, has no resale value because their maintenance fees have gone up quite a bit. What can you give us a few examples, Sheridan, of what weeks have a residual resale value and which ones don't?
We like to sell Aruba Oceans, Aruba Surf Club, and Timber Lodge is pretty good. In fact, we have a customer who's looking for Timber Lodge Platinum units, and also the Westin Kierland. And let's see, Grand Ocean, anything on Hilton Head is very good. Monarch has a fixed week, and lots of people like to get a certain week, and maybe they collect several of a certain week so they can use it every year for a large family. But those are the best. Crystal Shores on the Gulf side of Florida, that's a good one too. But I would say people really go for the Aruba Ocean and Aruba Surf, and anything on Hilton Head Island.
Right. And Sharon is also being on our charter board, and she has also worked with her developer to resolve a couple of disputes, showing us that it can be done. Now, on the flip side, and Jonathan, you can probably help me a little bit more with this, is Diamond Resorts. If I buy 20,000 points from you, I have to buy 10,000 points from Diamond to quote, clean those points to be able to join the club to book. And that's about $40,000. And when I called, I surveyed all 55 of the licensed timeshare brokers that were members of the Licensed Timeshare Broker Association, which is how I got to know Sheridan's broker, and none of them will accept a listing for diamond points. Unlike Hilton, that I have a friend that's been working in Hilton resales for 30 years. But I believe if you resell Hilton, you resell the weeks, but I don't know. I guess, do the points go with it? Do you know, or not? Because there's diamond points are completely incomparable to Hilton points. If you have like a 1 week, you get 5,500 points if you don't want to stay at your home week. And I think you can rent out your home week, but not the points. Can you fill us in on that?
Sounds like a lot, doesn't it?
It is. It always is.
Vacation planning made simple.
The more confusing, the better it is for sales. Honestly,
it's super confusing. The exact details I don't have here right now. I'll be able to tell you, I'm just doing the transfer of Hilton points. But I can tell you that there are a lot of moving parts that go inside of it. And yes, they kept them as separate. You know, you have the sales seminars where it says you have to buy this in order to use these properties and things like that. And there's a lot of gray line, you know, on how that works. But, you know, there's a lot of it that it's really difficult to go into. But from the point side, me personally, like I like the resale side, but I like purchasing directly from the developer. Me personally, right? This is just me personally. And people can go out and purchase on the resale market. You get a great product that gives you great opportunities, and it can be a great economical way to purchase and allow you to travel. Just me personally, I see more benefits purchasing directly from the developer itself. That's just me. After sitting on the tables and it's, if you're an educated owner or educated in the resale system, I think going that way can give you a lot of benefits because you really understand the things that you get versus the things that you don't get, right? There may be certain benefits and levels that you don't get when you're purchasing resale, or there's certain benefits that come that way. It doesn't come exactly the same. And as long as you understand the differences between the two, then, I say that go the route that you want to go, that makes you feel the best, right? I'm not here to say one is better than the other. It's just my personal opinion of what I believe.
And it's really good to have options. And before we continue, I'm going to be talking about My Resort Co-op, which I think is breaking news, because it avoids a perpetual contract. But it's a 3-year program, 48,000 RCI points. I have the lowest of 3 tiers. Andre is going to be talking to us more about that. But as I was saying before the show started, that an endless complaint is our sales agent said he would help us if we had any questions, just to give him a call, and they never returned our phone call. And I signed up for My Resort Co-op, and about 30 days later, I got a call from Jonathan explaining that Jonathan and his team at Vacation Ownership Advisor was going to be our personal consigliere to help us. And they did help me book my first trip. I have a comparison of someone that bought triennial points from a developer, and there was light years difference between the value I received. But Jonathan, go ahead and tell us how long has Vacation Ownership Advisor been around, and what services you provide for someone like me that has we had 3 or 4 timeshares, but we're down to 4,250 diamond points,
Okay.
and then the 48,000 RCI points. So we've downsized quite a bit on our timeshares. But how is your firm able to help not only me, but someone that like Jeremy that may have a more extensive portfolio of timeshares?
No, it's a great question, Irene. And once again, thank you for continuing to do what you do. It's nice to know that people are out there like yourself that are trying to help, people that are in the timeshare industry that have purchased memberships, better use it and also get things resolved that they need to get resolved. For myself, I was working with Marriott and working with Hilton and having a long background in the vacation ownership industry. I noticed that there's a gap, there's a disconnect in our industry, and it starts with marketing, and then we have sales. And then from after the sale, it kind of jumps to how do we bring them back and resell them? And then there's customer service kind of that floats in the middle. And it's all done as what's called a reactionary customer service. And that's standard in most industries, is if there's an issue, we reach out to customer service and we deal with it. And that's that. In the vacation ownership space, sometimes issues evolve and people purchase. So what we wanted to do is create a company that would be able to bridge that gap and disconnect. In November of 2020, we decided to launch VOA, which was that time Vacation Ownership Advisor, as a true portfolio management company to help not only timeshare owners, people that have bought travel clubs, they own multiple different weeks, and help them navigate that. We start all the way from the welcome call to online portfolio call. What that portfolio call involves and it's a great question that you brought up, is the people that have extensive profiles, is that we manage the entire profile. So let's say Jeremy, as an example, has executive level with Marriott Vacation Club. Fantastic. So he's over 7,000 points, but maybe he would like to go to Marbella, Spain, and he's going to use his points and do an exchange out there. He still needs to fly to that destination, right? He may want a rental car. Maybe there's something else he needs. We're able to take maybe his One World points that he might have with American Airlines. Maybe he has 250,000 points. We can show him how to strategically use those to fly in a sleeper seat, to go over to Marbella, to spend the week there. And this all now is an experience of his timeshare. So we're managing his entire profile, his Marriott Bonvoy points, Hilton Honors, American Express. And above that, everything that is outside of Marriott's a fantastic program. It was a pleasure being a director there for years. It offers incredible value. But we have to be honest and transparent, is that even at the 7,000, 10,000 level, if you want to go to Dallas, Texas, and you want to spend a weekend, you're not transferring your ownership to stay at Dallas, right? In Dallas. And sometimes it's not the best way to use your Marriott Bonvoy points, because you might not get the right valuation when you're redeeming those hard-earned points. These are all things that we understand, and we could turn around, because we have access through a platform. We have 2 million plus hotels, everything on Expedia net rates, access to cruises and world tours and more. We can now become an extension of his ownership and his brand, allowing him to get a true enhancement of his MVC, which is already great, which creates more owner retention and obviously a happier owner in the long run.
Well, thank you for that. And so to better understand, episode 54 was in March when I signed up. And let me see here if I can remember how to do this. Now it's a little bit small print, but at the top left, there are 3 tiers. The first one is 48,000. The second one, 72,000. The third one, 108,000. So we have that is that. And then now we bring us to today. And I found this to be extraordinary. And my resort co-op, I do not make a penny. I am a consumer of my resort co-op. So this person called just a few days ago, and the first week of September bought a triennial week. We have had 4 or 5 guests on this show. None of them knew that triennial meant you have to use it only in the 3rd year. So one organization is selling triennial points, and when the family learned that they had to use all the points, RCI points, in the 3rd year, there was no way they could take that much vacation time. But what he purchased was 15,000 RCI points. And he said that would give us 2 weeks of vacation. So both Jeremy and Jonathan and Andre can respond to me, that doesn't sound right. And they said they would give us, the purchase price was $5,000, and there were maintenance fees of $324 a year. And they called me in a panic because they had gone to some social media sites and said they had read several complaints about this company, and we've received several complaints. So compared to what my husband and I signed up for, there was a $1,239 fee for our first year. But we received 48,000 RCI points, and we booked 2 trips. So we got 2 weeks plus 4,000 points left over. Each trip was 22,000. There was a $299 RCI fee for both of them. My second year and 3rd year will be $963. And we book, I'm down South Florida, so I misnamed this. Jeremy corrected me when I sent this for review. It's the Space Coast, I think it's a satellite beach on the Space Coast. So that was, and VOA helped me book that. The
Yes.
total was $869 for a week. When I went to booking.com, it was $2,162. I could not believe it. And so then we also booked another week. September, we like to travel slightly off season. September and October, Florida tends to go to sleep and have hurricanes, except for the hurricanes. So we have the Panhandle booked for $567. When I went to booking.com, there was no availability until late November for $793. So my cost for the 2 trips was $2,036 with 4,000 points left for next year, compared to the 2 trips online were $2,955. So the way I contacted VOA, and we just wanted to do some drive-to trips because we had an extensive trip booked to Maui with the deeded week we've had in our family since 1984. So I gave your team like 3 or 4 locations, and they came back with, I think, 10 or 12 choices. And I was pretty confused when I didn't, 48,000 points with my resort co-op meant and I didn't know this, I would have to actually open an account with RCI. It includes a platinum RCI, and it's been shown that if you buy a timeshare, especially points, and you don't use it in the first 6 months, you're probably going to regret your purchase, which is why it was very smart for My Resort Co-op to include Jonathan's services for the first year. And if I want to continue for the second year, I believe it is a $259 fee, which is
Yep.
$249, well worth it, even with we don't have an extensive timeshare portfolio. So, Andre, yeah, I see you're muted. If you can unmute. Do my numbers make sense? When I sent my overhead to everyone, you reminded me that I'm at the lowest tier. So, I forgot what it was. No, it was this one.
The vacation.
Well,
The vacation
48,000,
rate, yeah.
72,000, or 108,000. So if there would have been greater savings if I was at the higher tier, correct?
Yeah, if you commit to more points per year, there's but greater savings. And let me kind of explain a bit of why there's ability to find these savings, just because it's like, wait a minute, hold on. I pay money and then I go get discounts. Why doesn't everyone use it? In the RCI is an exchange system for timeshare owners. And when timeshare owners want to go somewhere else, they deposit their week with RCI and they go exchange it for another location. RCI also has additional services and deals with resorts and hotels. And because of that, it's a system that's slightly separate from like the regular booking. So some of the weeks that are available in RCI, they're not available on Expedia because they're never been, the owner didn't put them up for rent. They put it to exchange. Because of this system has at times very interesting deals. And what My Resort Co-op we're trying to do is grant access, working with RCI, grant access to the RCI system through their program of points. And we partnered with Joe Takish, and he was the one who is able to provide all these points, and we were able to make these offerings. But here's the interesting thing, Irene. I'm first of all, yeah, just for everyone, we don't have any kind of deal with Irene. This is basically we're invited to the podcast. I'm grateful to be here. But I was sitting there listening, and when you sent that email earlier, I was looking at that. I'm like, this is great, because I was sitting there trying to figure out how do we price everything, looking at the RCI deals to make sure that people can actually get a fairly decent savings. You won't it's not guaranteed that, or let's say I want to go for Thanksgivings in a specific city and I'll definitely find a deal. Maybe not in that city. Maybe for Thanksgivings you'll find in a different. But regardless, if you like to travel, if you like to go to the various locations, there's always it's very useful, and Jonathan can correct me. It's very often you'll find a fairly good offering through RCI and using the points and so forth. But yeah, with Irene, I really am grateful for your advocacy here, and it's kind of justifies some of the work we've been doing, but with Joe and with Jonathan. Yeah.
Well, and the networking that has come about from this show has been extraordinary. And I know we had an attorney on last week, and that prompted two other attorneys to respond, and their networking. And Ron Roberts has been in the timeshare industry, like Joe Takish, for 45 years. And when my friend who works in Hilton Resale said, Andre and Taylor, these two guys called me, and they're going on and on about tokenization, and I'm not sure what they're trying to do exactly. And when you talked to me, I didn't quite know what you were trying to do. So I contacted Ron Roberts, and Ron Roberts, I believe, introduced you to Joe Takish. And so I got a call from your partner, Taylor, that said, Irene, because of this networking, we all got together and got this really great program. And my MVP. That's the Interval International side. That's been around a little bit longer than my resort co-op, I believe.
As far as I understand, yes, that's correct.
Yeah, so that's about 6 months longer than that. Now, that where this has been explained on this show 2 or 3 times. Jeremy works in IT, and Jonathan understands the industry. Sherida, pretend I'm a 5-year-old and explain to me blockchain technology and tokenization and how that's going to affect me, your average timeshare member or owner. And is this going to pertain to if I wanted to sell my timeshare? Sherida said she's out she's on her way somewhere, so she just wanted to join us for a few minutes. But is this if I wanted to sell my week outright, my points outright, or is this for rentals? What is tokenization and what is it for?
Yeah, so let me kind of, I'm obviously a tech guy. I'm gonna stray away a bit from tech here, but the idea is this: there's a lot of interesting kind of pushing and the solutions being built on the blockchain. Why? Because it's a public ledger where you can write transactions and you can see a flow of that, and the ecosystem can pick that up.
Wait a minute. The what system?
The ecosystem can pick up and see information that's written to a public blockchain. Having said that, that's just saying, like in the internet days in '93, that internet is basically routing of data between networks. That's all tech. Now, let me explain what this means. If we rely on this tech, we can digitize your timeshare ownership, but we can do it in such a way that you, as a timeshare owner, no longer have to prove you're the timeshare owner to anybody else. They can just check the blockchain. They can see that, yes, in fact, Irene owns at this resort. They won't see Irene. They'll see a number owns at this resort. But if
Okay,
you,
wait a
for
minute.
example,
I'm going to interrupt you a lot so I don't get lost. Okay, let's take an example. Let's say we have 5,000 Marriott points, as opposed to I call your grandmother's timeshare. We have to check in every year, August 13th at Maui Hill in Unit 58. Are we talking about my fixed week, or are we talking about the points?
we're talking about fixed week ownership. So basically, the traditional property-based deed ownership. We want to have a way where you can effectively digitally prove the owner without publicly saying your name or anything. So what this means is that the way we're going to have timeshare tokenization is that once you buy a tokenized timeshare, you can go to any services that work with tokenized timeshares and prove you own this. Why I keep saying prove your own this is because that's important. If you go to Red Week today, you have to pay an advertising fee or if you do the full service, they have to verify who you are. They have to call the resort and figure out that, yes, in fact, Irene owns at this resort. That's the only way to do it because, well, unfortunately, there is not the most. Sometimes there's people that will try and say they own something, or say they want to sell it on Red Week and then sold it on Facebook. Now you get issues and all that stuff. The way to fix that is by doing this tokenized timeshare and using the blockchain as a medium where anyone can check: is this person the owner? I mean, is this account the owner? So an ID. Have they listed it for sale? And how much for? And is it still pending sale, or is there a pending sale? Why that's important? I believe by just doing that, we start creating an ecosystem where other services, for example, Jonathan, can offer their services. So if you own a tokenized timeshare, perhaps Jonathan has a deal with the resort that if you own a resort, you will basically, they have a deal and you get free concierge trial for a year. Well, again, if you want to get free concierge trial, you got to prove it. And Jonathan's not going to pay a person to go call a resort, verify your credentials and everything. That's just, it creates problems in the business. But with a tokenized timeshare, Jonathan can immediately say, hey, just log in with our website and sign up for a free trial. And that's it. He knows he'll have the information from you. You'll be able to prove your ownership with the resort and everything. And the most important thing is neither you nor Jonathan have to go and talk to Volca to do that. So
That's
once
right.
you buy it, that's it. It's anyone can build services on it. Anyone, you can go log in with the sites that do that, and that's going to be the benefit. So now, independent of smaller resorts that have maybe one person running a resort can make deals or pull in additional services and offer these services, where previously they would have to either convince a property management company to come in or go build it out themselves, which is not feasible.
So true. Yeah. Transparency and honesty, right? Being safe. That's what it's going to bring. It'll avoid scams and everything.
It's not going to
Yeah,
eliminate the
honest,
deed.
trusted transactions.
Well, it won't eliminate the deed, will it?
No,
Well,
so
no, the deed would just be on the blockchain.
it's, I mean, I'm no legal expert, I'm the tech guy, but effectively with the blockchain, you'll notify your actions over what the deed is. But a tokenized timeshare, at any point in time, you can take the deed out. If you really want to be like, hey, I want to possess the deed back out, great, you can take it out. But what happens at that is you effectively detokenize your timeshare, so you no longer have the ability to log in to Jonathan or anyone else, or into this ecosystem, or use the Volca sales, or hell, we'll maybe make a deal with Red, we can use their sales.
Yeah.
But you're still the owner of the deed, so you can always take it back out if you want it. So we're not locking you into anything. We're just offering you an ability to have a very good experience, and an ecosystem where partners like Jonathan with a VOA worldwide can build and add services to it.
So, so is this only for fixed weeks right now? I mean, deeded timeshare, it could be floating or fixed. It doesn't have to be a fixed week, or can it be a floating week?
Oh, we only target right now. We're only targeting, or starting, I guess, maybe over with deeded weeks. We'll support floating and fixed. In the future, we'll see about the future. But right now, I believe there's a big need for deeded weeks to simplify the ownership experience, simplify the sales experience, and make it all trustworthy, make it simple, deterministic, so that you no longer have to kind of worry about all the paperwork you got to do, all the contact the resort, if I want to sell it, all that communication, or proving to anyone that you're actually the owner. I want to simplify that first. And in doing so, I believe will also improve the ecosystem, because it'll allow, again, I know I keep referring to Jonathan, but allow other companies like Jonathan to offer their services, benefit from them, and benefit the owners from them. But yeah, we're focusing on deeded weeks.
It won't matter whether it's a fixed week 34 or if it's floating.
It won't matter for the purposes of proving it, that you're the owner, buying it, selling it, and so forth. And we'll support the communication with the resort to support the reservations of both.
And is this more of a benefit for me as an owner, or is it more of a benefit for like the people we've had on the show, or even Sherida doing timeshare resales and transfers?
First and foremost, this is a benefit for the owner. But I do believe if you benefit the owner, the rest of the ecosystem benefits. The owner is the most important part of the timeshare industry, the owner base. Make it simple for them, and they will gladly continue vacation. They'll spend more money. They'll purchase more timeshares, as long as they make that simple. And the rest of the industry will benefit greatly from that. So we're focusing on the owners.
And I know I've looked this up before, but go ahead and define blockchain for me again.
It's a very creative digital way to have a ledger multiple people can write, a ledger of transactions, a sequence of transactions. So for example, if you represent any kind of ownership or tracking of any kind, or any recordation, you can have multiple entities with the correct permissions update that information, and it's all deterministic. And the most important thing is being done in a way where there's no central server. So it's not Microsoft.com or Google.com. It's a network of nodes, and anyone can have run a node. And it's basically, so yeah, digital ledger of transactions that's done in a very creative technical solution to
Yeah, it'd be
keep it distributed.
like if we were kids, it'd be like if all of us were playing a game together, we were playing cards or dominoes, and Irene, you won this hand, we would put it in the ledger. And if there were games going on all around the world, you could just update the ledger. Like it literally, and you could never say that you didn't win or I didn't win. It automatically is guaranteed, and it's there, and it's across the board everywhere. And it doesn't matter where you are, you can just go in and update it. It's live. Like,
I think I get it as far as reselling from one person to the other, but as far as adding additional services, are you talking about what other additional, you mentioned Jonathan, but what other additional services would be part of the blockchain?
God, anything.
Well, yeah, I mean, when I say additional services, Jonathan, to offer you a membership, a free trial membership at a resort he has partnered with, all you need to do is prove to him you're an owner at that resort. That's it. And as long as Jonathan doesn't have to spend money to verify it, that's it. Log into the website with the tokenized timeshare account, and that's it. You proved it. That's what I mean by additional services. It's services that build around the ecosystem. Yeah. Separately, I mean, for example, I would imagine there'll be cleaning companies that'll start building out their own apps because maybe they'll see that when a person returns, they have certain preferences. They want extra pillows, they want extra towels, and these companies can start offering it because, again, these tokenized timeshare owners can log in onto their app and select it, and they don't have to prove that they're the owner or when they're coming. And the cleaning company can build this without talking to Volca, without talking to the resort. They can just start offering services, benefits, and maybe even be like, hey, if you want a bottle of wine or a bottle of champagne, here, pay us an extra fee and we'll deliver a bottle of champagne when you start your stay. So the crux of that is the ability to prove you're the owner and you're coming. That's the crux of that. If you do that, if you solve that, then you can start enabling all these services. Not by enabling like we enable, but like all third parties will be like, oh my God, I can offer my service here.
Yeah, it's all chronological, date, order. It's just like a big notebook that just keeps adding more data, and all the little details of the contract, like a smart contract, are included into it. And, not to get into it, but if you had a timeshare, you had a home and you wanted to put it as part of a smart contract blockchain, you could tie specific details to that contract, like saying that if you sold your house in the future, that you want to get residual 1% income off of it for eternity, for whatever you want. And every time that is sold going forward in the future, you can have, you negotiated into it. There's just endless possibilities of stuff you can do on it. It's just new technology.
And I read that it's not just timeshare, of course, it's being used in residential real estate. What other industries does this apply to?
There's been efforts that I think in California to digitize vehicle registration, in New Jersey to do recordation of general title work. There's a few companies out there that do various solutions with real estate. There's a huge push in the financial markets to tokenize various financial instruments, but that's everyone sees that that this is coming. I think we're in the year 93 of the internet days. So there's going to be a lot of interesting things popping up more and more as
it's going to happen.
Do you have any actual timeshare resort that you have started tokenization?
We do have a deal with a resort and will be public soon. Yes.
And so they have agreed to tokenize their deeds.
A partial tokenization, and we will be helping them with sales. Yes.
Okay. And Jeremy, you're an IT guy. How do you feel about, if you can re-explain how you've interpreted this I'm sure there's other viewers like me that are not experts in this area and it sounds kind of foreign and futuristic. What is your opinion of this and how do you feel it would benefit the industry?
Excuse me. So I work in IT, but we don't do any tokenization kind of in the line of work I'm in, but I do kind of understand what they're looking to accomplish here, what this is to accomplish, right? So, and I understand kind of that ledger of transactions that's essentially just public, right? So that kind of helps, and I think it makes sense. And I think that, I mean, this can probably help streamline processes for quite a few resorts and properties out there to kind of make everything a little bit simpler, right? But is there any kind of look to get the bigger, or are the bigger brands? Is this question I have? Like, are any of the bigger brands looking to move in this direction, or is that kind of more of they're kind of on their own, and then this is kind of just working with more smaller independents? I don't know, if, Andre, if you can answer that, or
I'm not aware of any active efforts to currently tokenize from the bigger brands.
okay.
There would be a lot of benefits to work with bigger brands in what we're doing, but right now we're welcome to do and explore that. We're just right now focusing on the independent resorts that really need this.
Diamond points are right to use non-deeded. Wyndham points, I'm told, are deeded. So would it be possible to apply tokenization to both of those situations, or would it have to be just the deeded points?
We're primarily focusing on deeded. We haven't explored what it would mean to go non-deeded route, even though it would probably tokenize the membership rather than the points themselves. But there is benefits to tokenization from the ecosystem, regardless if it's deeded or membership. But yeah, we're focused on deeded right now.
The term you keep using, ecosystem, are you talking just about the defined ecosystem? We're not talking about the sand dunes that are out here.
So yeah, I mean, yeah, I guess it's from my tech days, using the word ecosystem, but exactly in that, right? So an ecosystem grows around, like if there's exactly sand dunes and everything, there'll be an ecosystem they'll develop from the plants to the animals and everything, because they see how they can coexist and grow from that. I think we're building a basis of one by digitizing, by tokenizing timeshares. We're building the basis of an ecosystem that will grow, and all these various services will appear on. But yeah, it's analogous to that. But yeah, I realize it's oftenly used in tech and maybe not as much elsewhere.
When I was doing my research, there was an example I found of something that would have taken 10 to 12 steps to go from A to B and back again. And with blockchain technology, that would happen in a matter of seconds. Can you use some kind of specific example of how?
I mean, sure. Like, for example, if today you want to sell your deed, of course, go sign up with Red Week, pay one of their programs. If you do the self-serve, then you go make an advertising, you get notifications, these people want to buy, you communicate back and forth, figure out how you're going to transfer, or if you're doing Red Week full service, they'll figure out the transfer. But then someone has to go call the resort, someone has to go update all that information, and that's manually today, either by email or by call. When all that gets done, then there'll be a signature involved, broker perhaps gets involved, and then it's like many different steps with the resort's involvement. And finally, when the person buys it, if they cancel it, then it's like, okay, you got to call the resort again, be like, hey, no, this is canceled. With us, all that happens underneath. So regardless of where you technically, and we'll support other marketplaces where the transaction happens, there'll be effectively a digital document you sign, you wait a rescission period, you speak with a broker for that resort, and then you make the payment, then it's transferred. The resort is notified automatically, all information is provided. Both parties, we're trying to eliminate the manual work by both parties on the middle marketplace and put it into the platform layer, put it underneath so it gets as much automated as possible. And we're able to successfully automate quite a bit with by doing it through tokenization.
Oh, let's go ahead and plan for like the last Monday in January to give an update. About every 3 months. It seems like we've got some good developments that happen. Would you anticipate by the end of January that first resort that's going to be tokenized will be, you'll actually have some of the, how do you call them? Just the tokenizations completed?
I anticipate by what's called the end of October to have quite meaningful updates for you.
Okay.
So we've been preparing with the various things to make sure every dot is dotted, T is crossed, to make sure everything's done correctly. But we're at a time where we're about to hit the ground running. So there'll be interesting developments month to month.
Okay, and while we have Jeremy and Jonathan both here that really keep their ear to the ground for the industry, I had one of our contact us was, could you please call me about my Wyndham timeshare? I have a terminal condition, and he has he's down to his 2 years has expired, and Wyndham has canceled their. Well, I kept hearing they canceled certified exit but now I hear that they have just discontinued it for 2025. That was, I would just always praise them for having a free exit program. And they said he had signed up with an exit company and they had refunded his money and the agreement was terminated, but they said to wait 90 days. He said he was eligible for certified exit. When he called back within 90 days, after 90 days, they said, sorry, that program has been discontinued. So you have someone who is in this debilitating medical condition and they're left with no choice but to default. If I can imagine the floodgates once it's opened again. Also, we have a couple, and we're not here to bash the industry today, but I know of at least 3 smaller developers that have no responsible exit. They want you to sell or transfer it, and there just seems to be no market for it. Can either of you offer any suggestions or advice to families that are in that situation?
God, I mean, it's such a tough thing because every situation is obviously different, and there should be a responsible way to in an ethical way to be able to relieve yourself of a timeshare. Like you can relieve yourself of a home, a car. You have all these different options to be able to do. And just as easy as it is for a new owner to walk into a timeshare presentation and purchase a membership, there should be an unwinding process that provides them an exit strategy, right? That's legitimate and real, because unfortunately there's companies that are out there that prey upon these individuals, and they do it unethically. They promise them that they're going to sell their property, and they walk a very gray line. They post it online. They take money up front, and the member never gets anything. And it's unfortunate that does happen. This is like a whole nother conversation that you can get into, but creating a legitimate resale market does more than just create a resale market. It opens doors that are in the vacation ownership and the rewards point industry that are larger than what most people even think about and comprehend. And by this, I mean, a lot of people don't understand the value of reward points, and Jeremy will get this 100%, right? He's an expert in this. If I have 300,000 Marriott Bonvoy points, right? How do I really assess the value? Well, here's one thing that a lot of people don't think about. If I decide to go to Europe or New York or LA and I book a hotel, there's one thing that I avoid and I never have to pay for the rest of my life. Does anybody know what that is?
Got me.
If you can guess it, I'll send lunch to everybody's house right now. Right?
The the resort fees or something like that?
So you're very, very close. You're in that area. The resort fees still tend to come, but there's something that we all pay every single year:
Taxes?
taxes. So if you think about it, when you use rewards currency, and this is across the board, and this is also using vacation ownership points. This is using other things. When you check into New York City using your MVC points, excellent. You do not pay the taxes in New York City. You're paying your maintenance fee and doing that. So where does that tax money come, right? And how does that really work? And the interesting thing is if you're going to put a true value on these points and all that tax, now the government's going to say, hey, there's hundreds of millions of points being used across the world in the United States. Nobody's paying tax on all of these numbers. Now, if you solve that problem, guess what? The timeshare market becomes real, because now you have a true set value that's regulated by the government. And they're saying, you use 400,000 points, you're going to pay me $250 in tax. So there has to be a value. In order to be taxed, there has to be a value regulated by the government. So this is a very deep subject that we can get in and have a whole conversation about. But that is kind of the things that happen behind the scenes. I love reward points. I love vacation ownership. I think it's amazing because there's so many benefits that a lot of people don't think about. You don't want to pay taxes when you travel. The majority of the time when you're doing, yes, you're paying your HOA. But if I go to New York City or Hawaii, I don't have to, like if you go to Expedia and you book a room at a XYZ hotel and you pay $2,000, check out the taxes that are there. Sometimes they're more than your maintenance fee. And now you can literally use your points and go to Hawaii where there's an extremely high tax. You use your points. You're not checking in and paying tax. You might pay a resort fee, things like that. But that's what your ownership does for you. So I'll leave it on that little point.
When I did my comparison, that was kind of a lot of the reason why I got better value is I added in the 12% tax for where I was going to book.
Yeah, it's incredible. Like like for instance, I'll use the Maldives as an example. You have some of these places you can use, and as a Bonvoy member, Jeremy will get this. The best valuation to use your Marriott Bonvoy points is by far the either it could be the Aspen, St. Regis, but it's the Maldives and it's the Ritz-Carlton or the St. Regis, depending on the dates that you travel over Christmas, right? You can spend anywhere between 490 to 590,000 points to go there, and you get your fifth night free, which we know. And that gives you an overwater bungalow in the Maldives, and you're going during peak season. Now, if you book that through Marriott.com, it's going to cost you in the high 20s to sometimes the low 40s. So it rides around $35,000, $38,000 for a week. And if you break down and you look at what the taxes are and you use your Marriott Bonvoy points, you're getting 6-7 times the standard value to do something like that. And then these are the things that we try to help our members with, no matter what ownership they have. If you're going to execute and use your points, use them in a destination that makes sense. Don't use, and I don't want to go back to what Jeremy said, but respectively, like if you have 20,000 points, yes, it gets you an extra night. It's awesome. But usually that 20,000 points is giving you a room for, I don't know, $150, $220. It's not life-changing, but yes, it does help out. If you're going to save them for, the 125,000 point range and go do Valentine's Day in Aspen or the Richmond Vale where the room is $3,500 a night and you're platinum, right? You have your status. Now you get 4 p.m. checkout, $100 in breakfast complimentary, things like that.
Now, we've had some people, though, I'd say 5 or 6 people reach out to TARTA that said that they couldn't get availability using their through the Hilton Grand Vacation, but
awesome.
They could go to the Hilton Hotel and find availability.
It's true.
So are they just not using the system properly?
No, it's separate inventory. It's separate. It's separate inventory across, and it does happen. I've sat on the tables for a long, long time, and there's certain owners that'll say, hey, listen, you know, I want to go to this specific property and it's not available on my owner platform, but I could go book it for cash. It's unfortunate, but there's different inventory that's allocated because Marriott, and I don't want to, I'll speak out of term, I'll keep it as simple as possible. Marriott hotels is different. They're owned, right, and operated under Marriott, but it's separate, right? It's
Two separate
Marriott.
stock symbols.
Yeah, separate stocks, separate companies, right? So the inventory that's here in the hotel is not always guaranteed that way, and vice versa, right? It's just a separate group of inventory. But if you are aware of how these things work and your expectations are set properly, the value's there, right? I mean, it's more than there. We were at the conference when you called a couple of days ago, when you called me. And that morning, if you go on my social media post, we had a member that had 42,000 interval points, and they were struggling to find the value. And we were able to secure them a short notice week using their points. It was like literally booking it like 4 days in advance, 3 days in advance, 35,000 points, a 2-bedroom unit at Marriott's Maui Resort. And we went online. That 2-bedroom was sold out on Expedia, sold out on Marriott.com, and the 1-bedrooms were just under 5,000. Sorry, the studios. So the 2-bedroom would be 7,000 plus, and that person paid, let's say, a penny point. Maybe they paid $600 in maintenance fee for those 35,000 points after exchange fee and everything, and they literally got a $6,000 stay. That's 10 times the value. So the value is there, and this is one thing that we do here at VOA is we want to help people navigate the system because it's like learning another language, and we're learning every day. But as you know, you got great value with your product, and Jeremy, you know, you have an incredible product, and what you're doing with the blockchain, Andre, is incredible. And I think we should just keep doing positive things, do great things for the industry, and we can help the people that need it. That's the most important.
And I meant to ask you if you could explain to Jeremy and Andre what the Gen X conference is that you've talked about before.
Absolutely.
We have 3 minutes left.
All right. So the GeneX conference gives an opportunity for entrepreneurs and business owners across the vacation ownership industry to showcase their product, to also meet other like-minded entrepreneurs and business owners like themselves, to share ideas, help them network. Happens 3 times a year. The next one is in November 18th to the 20th at the Kempinski Hotel in Cancun, and the last one will be for the final one that they do will be March, will be in Nashville. But if you want to speak to decision makers, this is the difference, because the people that go to GeneX are the decision makers. They are not just standard employees. They're high-level executives that can literally make a decision like that, and you're getting true feedback, and they want to do good things for the industry. And Paul Matimo and Sharon Matimo, just like to mention them, Jim Madrid, who is the MC there. These are fantastic people, and I look up to them as mentors. And I think anybody, if you're in the industry, take the time, go to one of these conferences. It's truly life-changing.
And the purpose of the Gen X conference is to just bring people together, or
bring people together, it's discuss new ideas, talk about things that are happening in the industry, obviously to network and to create new business partnerships. And everybody's there to help each other because we want to make the industry better. You want to showcase your product, see how your product can integrate with other resorts or other products there. And it's not just a 3-day conference. The people that I've met at GeneX, we can have conversations on a daily, other day basis, like just as friends, but we're growing that network to help the industry. It's very different than a standard little conference. Like it's, okay, this person has a great idea. They may not work with my business model. How can I introduce them to someone that's going to help them? Or
is it mostly about timeshare, or is it other industries?
So it's the majority of it is obviously focused on vacation ownership. There are a lot of different other products that are involved in it, but it is geared towards the vacation ownership industry. You have the board of directors from CARTA. You have the board of directors from, ARDA. You'll have, Jason Gamble will be there. Marriott Vacations was there as well. And your big names are there. And as a young entrepreneur like myself, when I started going to GeneX, it's not possible for me to sit or have a conversation for 15 or 20 minutes with a senior executive at a Hilton property who's, you can't get that type of reach. And this gives you that type of opportunity and even give you constructive feedback on what you're trying to do and build in the industry.
Well, with that, thank you for that. I'm glad I had a chance to ask that question. And I want to thank Jeremy and Andre. This is a fluid situation, and I think it's really interesting to follow blockchain and tokenization. And my MVP and my resort co-op. And so I hope to see you back, if not earlier, at least right after the first of the year would be a good time to get an update. So with that, I'm going to sign off and thank you again for being on the show today.
Thanks,
Thank you so
Irene.
much, Irene. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.